I didn't know that.
New Year's Eve was a lot better because it was like, there's always something to do. There's always a party. There's always something. I just lost my FB. There's always something. But now it's sort of like amateur night.
So Don Jr. apparently was not thrilled about having to spend New Year's Eve at his daddy's big Mar-a-Lago New Year's Eve bash, calling the event, which happens to fall on his birthday, amateur night. Fascinating. So on Monday's episode of Triggered with Don Jr., so he expressed he wasn't really looking forward to going to the big bash, the big party, and celebrating his birthday at Mar-a-Lago with his dad. So here he is explaining why.
New Year's is always a little rough. My birthday is New Year's Eve. So, tomorrow's my birthday. I get older. When I was a kid, New Year's Eve was a lot better because it was like, there's always something to do. There's always a party. There's always something. I just lost my FB. There's always something. But now it's sort of like amateur night. And I realized that. And so, I get to be around, 1,000 drunk people giving me their political opinions that I don't necessarily want to hear. While I love Mar-a-Lago, it's sort of like, by about midnight when everyone's like, 12 beers deep or, whatever it is they're drinking, the close talking opinions, it's not for me. This will be like year 9 of, hey, have you ever thought to maybe have your dad not tweet that? Or I'm like, no, I've never thought that because I'm a freaking imbecile. Like I've never thought, wow, you are an incredible political mind. That's less of a problem lately, but this was the first few years of, political commentary. Tomorrow, why don't you just do this? Or, so yeah, I don't know.
Okay, so he actually said some stuff in there that I agree with, right? Like, you're at a party, you want to have fun, you don't want to talk about politics. Look, I say that, and then inevitably I end up talking about politics, and I'm the one who brings it up because I can't help myself. But going into it, I'm like, oh, I really don't want to talk about it. People always ask me about politics, but it just happens. So I get where he's coming from. He also says that he's sober, and it's like annoying to be around a bunch of people who aren't sober. So I can feel him. I mean, I'm not sober, so I can understand where he's coming from.
Decidedly not sober.
No, I drink. In fact, like over the last few weeks because of the holidays, I feel like I haven't gotten drunk, but like having a drink or two almost every night, not great. It doesn't make me feel great. But yeah, you know what? I commend him for trashing his father's New Year's Eve party. Good.
No, and I get it. And a part of me in a small way can relate because oftentimes, especially when I'm like with a bunch of dudes who I don't know that well and they find out what I do for work, they just want to talk about sports. It's just like sport. They just giving me the sports takes. It's hot take after hot take after hot take. And I'm like, you want to engage people, but at the same time, it's like, guys, like we're not supposed to be I'm not supposed to be working right now. And so I do feel him on that. And just, of course, like inevitably people that are drunk are like, they're just any level of decorum or inhibition is just gone. And it's just going to be a stream of conscious of, yes, not the most brilliant political, discussions ever. Like he's right. Like I could imagine people being like, yeah, you should probably get your dad not to tweet. That would be smart. Like, yeah, I get it. It's kind of funny, but I get it.
So let's talk a little bit about what happened at the big party. So 300 guests attended this amateur night, as Don Jr. likes to call it. And the list is very unappealing for me. So I don't know how unappealing it is for Don Jr. It seems like the type of people he likes to hang out with. So for instance, like, I don't want to ring in the new year with Roger Stone or Miriam Adelson or Ted Cruz. Like, doesn't sound fun. And we have some footage of the shenanigans that took place. Let's take a look. Okay, I I know people are going to get mad at me for saying this. I like the dance move. I do. It's fun. It's fun. He likes it. I like it. It shows that he's got like a little bit of fun in him.
The rare bit of humanity we get from Trump in public. Like famously, people say he doesn't laugh or smile in public, but he will dance. He's a music lover.
He is.
One of the only human things about him. But yeah, the dance is kind of hilarious. There was like a couple of sports figures who got in hot water because they did like Trump dances, celebrations, like football players, and one of our best living American soccer player, Christian Pulisic, he did the Trump dance after a goal. And I think he was in Italy. It wasn't even, he might have been playing for Team USA. I don't remember. But people were like, oh, he's endorsing Donald Trump and blah. It's like, guys, the dance is funny.
Yeah.
Like at a certain point, if you can't get past your partisan impulses to just acknowledge that his goofy dance is funny, like you need to like take a step back and chill, y'all.
Yeah, and like he does show that side of him when he's doing his rallies or when he's at these events. And it could be something that Democrats learn from, right? Because they're still kind of stuck in that suited up hoity-toity era of politics, and things have changed. And I think it's good that things have changed, right? Like show your human side, have a little fun. In fact, I remember there was a video of Kamala Harris from years ago that like went viral once she was anointed the Democratic nominee. And I love the video because she was like at some pool party or something and she was just dancing. And I was just like, okay, like I saw the human side of her because you don't get to see that a lot with Kamala. And I was like, I hope we see more of this, right? The side of her that's having a good time, letting loose, someone you can relate to as a human being. So you don't always have to be so buttoned up. You don't have to hide who you really are you don't have to hide the fun parts from the public, just have a good time. It's okay. So, but Don Jr. not into the party. So just don't go. But apparently, apparently his dad was hitting him up and asking him where he's at. Where are you? When are you coming to the center of the universe, Mar-a-Lago? Bill Gates asked me to come tonight. We miss you and X. New Year's Eve is going to be amazing. Donald J. Trump. And that was, yeah. Was that to Elon Musk? All he cared about was whether or not Elon and his son were there. Yeah. So that was a message to Elon. And Elon did show up. There's like a video of him showing up with Trump to the event. I'm really wondering how the now anti-Elon faction of MAGA is going to react to Donald Trump's embrace of Elon.
And that's the thing we didn't talk about on the main show is like these Laura Loomers and Steve Bannon he's been getting in Elon and Vivek's ass. He compared them to recent converts to the church. And he was like, if you're a recent convert, you need to sit in the back of the church. You don't just get up on the pulpit and start preaching. That's not how conversion works, my brother. But yeah, they're going after Vivek and Elon, but they haven't said a word about Trump. So
no, they haven't.
That's where I'm just like, all right, you guys are still like, oh, daddy's good. It's just his friends are crappy. It's his friends making him drink and cheat on mommy. It's not daddy. It's his friends. It's like, nah. At a certain point, you got to hold your dad accountable for his horrific actions, or as you see it, to be horrific. So we'll see.
So far, it really does seem like any influence that Steve Bannon might have had on Donald Trump has basically been demolished.
He didn't have 250 mil.
Money talks, or as Papa Kasparian likes to say, the cash is talking. So
it's certainly talking. I think I'm wondering at what point does Trump feel like, especially if he's taking these political L's. And he like this stuff is turning his own base against him in a really major way. I wonder at what point does he say, all right, bro, enough. You got now back up. You know what I mean? Like, relax. We gave you some goodies. Now move on. Like, I wonder at what point that'll be, or if his infatuation and love of Elon, he just loves this dude, continues.
We'll see. We'll see. And I'm kind of.
I mean, if somebody gave me 250, I probably love them too, even if they were as disgusting as Elon. I gotta say, I might be inclined to want to hang out with and just, hey man, keep coming to my parties, please, brother. You gave me $250 million.
I have a really hard time taking orders, like, so like for me, and I've always been that way. Like growing up, like. I was a good kid, don't get me wrong. But when there were like hard and fast rules, like from my parents, I immediately wanted to like rebel against them. And I did, like the first rule was, you're Armenian. Armenians went through the genocide. You have to marry an Armenian man. I was like, I'm going to marry a Latino for sure. I guess that's what's going to happen. And that's exactly what I did.
You're letting the ancestors down.
And by the way, to my parents' credit, they conceded right away. They moved
on. They moved on immediately. For that point.
Yeah,
that's nice. That's nice.
Yeah.
Not everybody does.
I know a lot of in my generation, because things are a little different now. But like when I was growing up, Armenian girls, a lot of them had secret boyfriends who were not Armenian. And when push came to shove, they just couldn't do it. Like they ended up breaking up with their, significant other before their parents found out. I just feel like if you're coming to America and there's all these beautiful, diverse people, are you really going to expect your children to deny themselves the temptations of the flesh? It's unacceptable. Unacceptable.
Believe it or not, some people actually do. And I do wonder. I do wonder how long Trump will be willing to, because like this has been a tough week for the tech bros and the right wing tech guys who Trump has brought on, and like. And because this immigration stuff was such a core issue, it's what every freaking right winger kept telling me. Well, the reason why we won is because of immigration. The public agrees with us on immigration, and immigration was a wedge issue, and we won. We won the election on immigration. Okay, Elon is telling you to take your immigration stance and ideology and shove it. He's completely just said, screw you guys on immigration. So I just really do wonder how many times they could do this, because the dude that set this off, that was in charge of AI, the Indian guy, I forget his name. His name escapes me. But his whole thing was the H-1 thing. The H-1 visas have a cap of 85,000. He's like, we got to remove the cap. Yep. We got to get even more of these folks in here. It needs to be limitless. Let's bring millions of them in, right? And that's not what Donald Trump ran on.
I mean, that's not what he ran on, but all of a sudden he's like, we need more of them.
We need more. I love the immigrants. We need more.
Yes.
Dude, is like, and the coolest thing about Trump though is of following what's happening with him politically is how transparent it is. It's not a mystery why Trump has changed his mind on this. Elon gave him 250 mil. That's what he's rolling with. It's there's no mystery. There's no like, what the with Biden and Gaza, where we're like, what in the Sam Hill is going on in this man's mind? Is it working at all? It's kind of a black box mystery. We don't know why he's carried the Gaza policy in the way that he did. It just seems so reckless and foolhardy. Whereas with Trump, like everything he does is so obvious.
Transactional. He's transactional.
It's right there on the surface. There's nothing to dig for. We know why he changed his stance. It's incredible.
Look, to be fair to his most avid supporters, that's what turned them on to Trump in the very beginning, since the beginning. It's the fact that he's honest and authentic. And so if you're going to run an inauthentic Democrat against him, that Democrat's going to struggle and ultimately lose. And I think that's part of what happened in this last presidential election. Okay.
I just couldn't imagine a Democrat doing this. That wasn't something like, Barry with Wall Street and some, that wasn't just this direct. Where Barry could never come out and say, I threw everybody under the bus. I'm now pro Wall Street. I love Wall Street now. He would never come out and say that, even though these people funded him from the very beginning, and he used his campaign to pretend to rail against these guys and pretend that he was going to have an administration that would keep these guys in check and punish him. He couldn't come out like literally a week before he's inaugurated and be like, what? Wall Street's great. I love Wall Street. It's great.
I think we need more corruption. Yeah.
Yeah, like it's nuts.